What is up, guys? Finally a new balance patch is here. It has been over a month, as you can see right now. This patch is on the 31st and the last one was on the 22nd of December. So we have been stuck in a Scyther, Urshifu, and kind of Sableye meta, I would say, for a decent amount of time now, and I hope this patch finally changes some things up. I'm going to go over all the changes, also show them in-game a tiny bit so you can see, you know, for like Sableye or Hoopa, they got some major changes that look much more different now, so you can actually see what it looks like, and give you guys my opinion what I think is good and bad at the same time, and maybe what I've wished more for as well. So let's just go over those together. I will be on UnityB because they always have a bit more information when it comes to the patch notes, and I can also link their patch notes down in my video description. So first we have Sableye. Shadow Sneak got nerfed, duration until reset while Shadow Sneak buff is active increased from 0.75 to 1.7. I'm gonna show this off, you can see it's very much different now. And condition for reset made stricter. If Sableye is, this word is pretty much stunned. If it gets stunned at all by having the Shadow Sneak buff, it will not be able to restate, which is very important, right? Because it was very weird that you were stunning this Pokemon and he was still turning invisible. So let's take a look at the new Shadow Sneak, and you will see it takes much longer now to go invisible. As you can see, the duration has been crazily nerfed. I mean, it was almost double, right? So that's the first part of the nerf. Now the second part of the nerf is that, let me check this, is that if you get hit though while going into stealth, you will not turn invisible anymore. And on last patch it was still happening, so that is finally a huge nerf to Sableye, and let's say it is for sure deserved. Next up, we obviously have one of the most impressive Pokemon in the last meta, which is Urshifu. So pretty much on pro play was always first pick or ban due to Vic Blow just being too crazy, especially with the Unite move. So for now we have Vic Blow being nerfed in its only in its actually damage reduction. So it still does the same amount of damage. It's only gonna be, he's gonna be less tankier by charging it up, which it's honestly, I don't even know this should be a thing. I feel like it should be completely removed if I'm gonna be honest. So now Wicked Blow, only 20% damage reduction on the normal one, and when you get plus, it's 20% damage reduction. But the biggest nerf is the Unite move. I think that's what they wanted to target, and it makes total sense. So first off, it's a 110% attack damage, you know, scaling nerf, also less per level, and less space. So the Unite move does much less damage. It's not going to just like half-shot you every single time you get used by it. And also, this is the biggest one. If you now use so you can use the Unite move to, you know, knock people in different directions and also up, but it can now only knock a single person. So, but if you go, like, if you knock someone to the right or left, you can still hit multiple targets. But now if you knock someone up, it can only hit one single target, which is a huge nerf. Of course, Urshifu actually was able to get like 2-3 targets in team fights sometimes, and it was very broken. So I'm glad they targeted this, and I'm glad they realized that this is a mistake. So good nerf, I would say, very, very good nerf, very healthy. The fact that you can't knock up multiple targets anymore, that is a good nerf. And then now we have buffs towards the Water Bear, or the multi-strike build, or, you know, surging strikes build, whatever you want to call it. First off, the boost auto attack is now for surging strikes is increased, so every time your boost auto attack hits, you get 0.5 seconds more cooldown than before. And also surging strikes has a 2-second less cooldown. So probably it's going to be up almost all the time now. We shall see. Obviously, it's the first thing I'm going to try today, and it's going to be the next video of today. It's going to be probably Water Bear, me trying Water Bear Urshifu. And the Unite move also needs less consecutive blow counters now to actually, you know, get the count or get more Unite move damage out. So that's also quite nice. And then we have another offender of last patch, which is Scyther. Scyther very broken. It was just running over ranked games like nothing. First, we have Sword Dance nerfed in general, also for Scizor, I think. This is for, yeah, no, this is in general. No, okay, Sword Dance just nerfed by 1 second. So also Scizor's getting a small nerf, thanks to Scyther being OP. I guess it could always be a balancing issue. And then the attack buff also got reduced by 3%, and Dual Wing Beat got nerfed by 1 entire second. Is this gonna be enough of a nerf? I'm not sure. I am really not sure. So the funny part is as well that Scyther has cooldown reduction built into his kit, right? Scyther can actually get cooldown reduction, and maybe I can show it fast. He can actually get cooldown reduction, and Scizor can't, so you can see right here, he gets per level at some point up to 20% cooldown reduction of level like 8, 9, so his Sword Dance is going to be lower cooldown in general than Scizor, so Scizor actually got a nerf that probably wasn't deserved, if I'm going to be honest. And then we also have the Unite move, now having less range and less dash range, which I think is fair. That's a good nerf as well. It was just ridiculous how far away Scyther could just reach you and completely destroy you. It was not fair at all, and I think that's a good target nerf as well. Next up, we have another Mr. Mime nerf. Another Mr. Mime nerf. He was still the second highest win rate Pokemon on the latest patch, just right behind Urshifu, so he's getting targeted again. We have a Confusion nerf. This time, this one looks like it's hitting pretty hard this time as well. This is just a global Confusion nerf, so they're also nerfing Barrier and Confusion at the same time. Yeah. Sometimes condition damage remains the same. Let me see. Wait, condition damage against wall or power swap targets has no change. Okay. Alright, so only the base confusion, so only the main confusion does less damage. If he gets hit against a wall, that damage didn't get changed at all. So, but it's still a bit less damage in general on the confusion combo, or like in general I'm pushing confusion. So, but the condition damage didn't get changed, just confusion and confusion plus base damage without, you know, hitting something. Interesting. Another power swap nerf, which I think is fair. Power swap had to be nerfed. Like, it's such a OP move right now. Less healing. Yeah, just less healing. Okay. And the move speed via tethered reduced from 15 to 8%. Okay, that's, I mean, yeah, that's fair, I think, as well. I mean, this is just such a strong, you just put it on like a Tyranitar, and that Pokemon just goes crazy. Any Pokemon that does a lot of damage with it as well, it is a very strong move. Then next we have the Unite move. Showtime, just also getting a damage move, and the final hit also getting damage move. So Mr. Mime just receiving a lot of damage, nerfs across the board to put him onto line. I think he probably still gonna be fine, just not as good. So I think he might, you know, near the 50% win rate now. But I do think you can probably still play it, but it's not going to be as oppressive anymore or just feel as OP. I feel like a lot of people don't even realize that this Pokemon is even still OP right now, which is funny, because I saw a lot of comments that Mr. Mime is actually not even that OP anymore, so... But he was very OP. Still. Now Clefairy is getting a big buff as well towards the Moonlight. We have more special attack scaling and more base damage, or more base healing on Moonlight, so Clefairy could make a comeback, especially with, I mean, I feel like there's always support OP every single patch. This patch is going to be Clefairy Hoopa maybe. And Gravity is also getting a stun duration buff, so when you dash into Gravity, you know, stun for 1 second instead of half a second. I'm not a big fan of Gravity. I prefer Follow Me just for the mobility as well and the shield you get. But I guess this is also quite fine, right? Also quite fine. And then we have Hoopa, which has a crazy buff. Hoopa, I'm going to show it off in a second as well in game. This one is crazy. So first, Phantom Force no longer requires enemy or allied players targeting. Instead, Hoopa may target the ground as a standard area effect. I'm just going to show this off right now. So I showcase it very fast, because Phantom Force is going to be crazy. So now you don't need to target an enemy or an ally to actually activate it. So you can just do this. Just anywhere on the field. So I think Hyperspace Hole and Phantom Force are going to be probably the best Hoopa build again now that we're going to see. And I can show you why as well, because Hyperspace Hole also got a buff first. We're going to talk about that in a second. But you can use Hyperspace Hole and Phantom Force together. So you can leave a Hyperspace Hole somewhere. You can Phantom Force into it. And you can use your Phantom Force to always jump back towards the Phantom Force. You start healing as well. And you also don't have to use your cooldown. So you can do this over and over again if you want. You can do this, you know, play around a bit. And just always, you don't have to have an ally enemy around. So you can just always do this. No enemy as well. Jump back in, go back into your Hyperspace Hole. If you want to auto-attack a bit, jump back in, hold heal up to full HP. So I feel like this is going to be absolutely crazy. And as I mentioned, this was not the only buff to Hoopa. Hyperspace Hole also received a 2-second cooldown buff. The cooldown on port activation also got buffed by 5 seconds, so you can now activate it more again for your allies. Your allies only can press it every 10 seconds or every 15 seconds, the porting back to the Hyperspace Hole. The only thing is, no, also base healing activation from using Hyperspace Hole decreased, so it also starts healing you instantly again. These buffs are crazy for Hoopa. They might even be a bit too much, so one year after Hoopa's release, it might just be one of the best Pokemon again. We shall see, or the best support. And the Unite move is also getting buffed at the same time. It now has a 112-second cooldown. That is crazy, from 134 to 112 seconds. So you can use it much more often. You don't just have to always wait for that one fight necessarily to use it. You can actually use it much more often throughout the game. Man, this is absolutely insane. This is absolutely insane of a buff. Probably one of the biggest winners of this patch for sure, together with Water Bear, Ice Room, and the rest, I mean, has been nerfed so far, right? So I guess for Clefairy is also quite fine. Then we have Dragapult. Dragapults are much more use of Dragon Breath, correct? And so that they buffed Shadow Ball actually. Shadow Ball just getting more damage. The damage from proccing the mark also increased, and the final mark proc also increased. And then for Shadow Ball Plus, you also have a lot of increased right here. And that's pretty much just very basic. So this is the patch. Honestly, I do like it, but I don't like it at the same time. I feel like after waiting 1 entire month for a patch, it's really not that much, right? Like, I really want them to touch more of the non-used abilities as well. Let's say it's called like Fire Blast, Delphox, or a Pain Split, you know, on Trevenant. I really want them to buff more things that just don't see play. And because that's the most fun thing, right? The patch comes out, and you like try to figure out what is best now. But this were mainly nerfs, right? Mime got nerfed, Scyther Scizor got nerfed, Urshifu got nerfed, but he also received a buff. Sableye got nerfed. So across the board, we pretty much saw like just a lot of nerfs and not really too many buffs either. And I'm not gonna say it's kind of boring, but I really wish they would also target, you know, a few more things and buff a few more things, because that makes the game very entertaining, having different Pokemon, you know, be strong again. Like there's like a small Brave Bird buff, right? It doesn't have to be much. Maybe a small Absol buff again to bring it a tiny bit back, because it has been in the gutter. New Aura, they're just kind of leaving it wherever it is. I mean, you can take a look at win rates to see, you know, which Pokemon are at the bottom. If the site even loads right now, doesn't look like. Oh no, it's actually loading. So, you know, just small buffs to these Pokemon, like Zoroark. I mean, Zoroark is actually quite good. It's just kind of the player base as well again. Buzzword still dead last, which is kind of funny. Maybe some buff to extreme speed. I don't know, you know. And Quassel is small buff right now. You know, could always do some small buff things. I would like them to buff Mage, Ninetales. I would like them to buff, you know, maybe play buff a bit more again. Buff Shadow Claw, Iron Head, all these things, right? That would be quite nice. But yeah, otherwise, I think this is still a pretty good patch. Doesn't matter what. And you're going to see videos today of Urshifu, probably, maybe Hoopa. Those are the main two Pokemon I'm looking forward to playing today. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the patch review, and I will see you in the game.